Hey everybody, it's Kim Mott, and it's finally summertime, yay! And summer always means barbecues. Everybody has barbecues, they're invited to barbecues, they give barbecues. And one thing about barbecues is the food usually isn't as healthy as you want it to be. I really like to eat healthy. So when I give a barbecue, I make good food, it's great, everybody loves it, but I try to keep it on the healthy side. But last week I was invited to a barbecue. So I went. I was told not to bring any food because all the food was there, so I brought a hostess gift, which was, I wish now that I brought a little dish on the side so that I could, fill my plate with that, because everything at this barbecue was so unhealthy that I really didn't eat very much. It's just not worth it to me the next day to think, oh my God, what did I do to myself? So for all of you that are trying to eat healthy, want to do good for yourselves, you're invited to a barbecue, you basically know it's going to be not healthy foods at a barbecue. So I'm going to give you a couple of recipes that you can always bring to a barbecue and it's delicious, everybody's going to love it, but it's going to be on the healthier side, so at least you can fill your plate with something that you don't have to feel guilty about. So my first one is a chickpea salad. And the first thing I did was I took some shallots and I sliced them very thin, and I put them in a little bowl, and I just covered them with probably about a third of a cup or so of red wine vinegar, and I put some sweetener in it, probably equal to about 2 tablespoons of sugar. You can use whatever sweetener you like, and a little bit of salt, and I just microwaved it for about 1.5 minutes. And took it out and just let it sit, let it cool, mix it around, make sure the sugar was all melted, and just let it cool, and then after it cools, just drain it, and this is going to be part of the salad. So I have it set aside right here. What I'm going to start out with is a bowl of chickpeas. I have 2 cans of chickpeas that I rinsed and I drained, and they're in this bowl. And I'm just going to throw everything together. I have those pickled shallots that I just told you that I made. Is basically what it is. And this is a great thing just to have on barbecue sandwiches or just on the side. I love these. I use these in a lot of different recipes. So I'm just going to put them in with my chickpeas. Remember, I already drained out the vinegar, so it's just soaked into the shallot. And chickpeas have a lot of fiber and they have a lot of protein. So if you just eat this as a meal, this is going to be very substantial. But it's also vegetarian, so that anybody at the party or even at home for yourself, you can just have a meat-free dinner. This is great. And I'm going to add a little extra protein. I like to add some edamame, shelled edamame. So I'm going to add that. You don't have to add this if you don't want. You could just substitute with all peas. I have about 1/2 cup of edamame and 1/2 cup of peas. You could use all peas. You could use all edamame. I like the different flavors and the textures, so I chose to use both. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make I actually made a dressing, a very simple dressing. It was 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I used 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, a little pinch of sweetener because I don't like the sour bite of the lemon juice by itself. It's all totally up to you. You don't have to add that if you don't like. If you really like it lemony, that's fine. And I added some salt and pepper to taste. So I'm also going to add a pinch of red pepper flakes just to give it a little zing, but you certainly don't have to do that if you don't want to. And I'm going to pour the dressing on the chickpeas and toss it around. And what I like to do is I like to let this sit for at least an hour. This is a great thing. You can make it ahead before you go to the party. Just let it sit for about an hour and let the flavors meld a little bit. And then just before you decide to either leave for your party, just throw on some feta cheese. I don't know, maybe 3 ounces or so. I just eye it out, whatever I think looks good. That's about right. And I have some toasted pine nuts. You can use any kind of nut you want. I chose pine nuts because I had them in my freezer. I always keep my nuts in my freezer so they stay fresh. And I just loved the flavor of it when you toast them. So I'm going to say that's about a half a cup of toasted pine nuts, but you can add any kind of nut, as I said. Toasting them always brings out the flavor. And I think it needs a little bit more pepper. So I'm going to add a little bit more pepper. And just before you serve this, actually I'm going to add my mint first. I have some mint leaves, fresh mint, and I'm just going to tear them up and throw them into the bowl. I'm going to say maybe between a half a cup to a cup. It's all by taste. It smells fantastic. It goes really good with the feta cheese and the chickpeas. And I'm just going to mix that in. And just before you leave, I want you to add arugula, baby arugula. Baby arugula is great because it's got that little peppery taste, that little bit of a bite, and it really goes really well with the lemon juice in the dressing and the feta cheese, and it's really pretty. There you go. And that's it. It's so easy and it's so flavorful. The pickled shallots are amazing in it, and the feta cheese adds that saltiness, creaminess, and the saltiness. Always taste it for if you need to add anything else. That's perfect. And the mint is really excellent. It's refreshing. It's perfect for summer. And it's a really, really healthy, simple salad. If you wanted to make this for your dinner at home, of course, with the edamame and the chickpeas, it's perfect because it has plenty of protein. You can add cooked shrimp to it. That would be excellent. You could always use leftover chicken, throw that in there. Just use your imagination. I mean, this is a really, really great salad. It's delicious. It's perfect for a picnic because you don't have to worry about refrigeration. It doesn't have any mayonnaise in it. So that is one salad, and I'm going to show you another one. Now this one's a broccoli salad. So I have my bowl of broccoli. I'm going to set that aside a little bit because I want to make my dressing first. So I have a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to squirt in just a little squirt of Dijon mustard. I don't know, like a teaspoon. I'm going to put a little bit of dried oregano, maybe half a teaspoon or so. And I'm going to crumble it up in my hands because it releases the flavor of the dried oregano. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And I'm adding lemon juice. It's about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So as I said before, I like to add a little sweetener whenever I use lemon juice because it's just a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to add honey, just a little bit. You can add any kind of sweetener you want. I just thought the honey would be really good with this. Delish. And I'm going to grate in a little bit of garlic. Maybe, this clove is pretty big, so I think I'm just going to use a half a clove because it is raw. And I have this little whisk here that I'm going to whisk it up to emulsify everything. Let's hope it works because I have trouble with this thing working. Oh, there it goes. This way I can emulsify my dressings. It works great. I got this online. I use it all the time. though it is temperamental and sometimes it doesn't want to turn off and turn on when I want it to. Okay, so that's the dressing, and I'm going to taste it just to perfect. I don't need to add anything. I didn't really add too much salt because in this salad there's going to be Kalamata olives and they're very salty. So I have my broccoli, which I only used the florets, and I just made them into bite-sized pieces because you don't want big chunks of broccoli in your mouth. And this is raw. I like raw broccoli. And this dressing is going to penetrate the broccoli and just kind of break it down a little bit so it won't be as raw tasting. So what I'm going to add is I have my Kalamata olives, probably a third of a cup or so, and I chopped them all up. So I'm going to throw those in there. I have probably about the same amount of sun-dried tomatoes, and I chop those up, and I have a little bit of probably like a quarter of a cup or so of toasted almonds. You can use any kind of nuts you like, as I said before, but I'm using almonds in this one because they're nice and crunchy, and I think it goes really good with the broccoli. I also have some red onion that I sliced really thin, so I'm going to stick that in there. I have some fresh parsley, and I chopped up an apple. Actually, this is about a half an apple. Use as much apple as you want. And what I did was I chopped it up and I put it in a bowl and I squirted some lemon juice on top and really mixed it around so that it won't turn brown. I used lemon juice because the citric acid keeps it from turning brown, but there's also lemon juice in the dressing itself. So I'm going to throw that in there. And now I am going to add my dressing. And this you want to do at least an hour in advance. So this is another great salad that you can make ahead of time because you want the salad dressing to penetrate the broccoli and kind of break it down a little bit so it doesn't seem as raw. Though I love raw broccoli, so if I ate this right away, that would be fine with me. It would be delicious. And it's a very simple salad. You know, I think I'm going to add a little bit of red pepper flakes since I have them here. Why not, right? I like my things spicy. Of course, you don't have to. All right, so that's another really easy salad. I'm telling you, how long did that take me? 5 minutes? It probably took me longer to cut up the broccoli than it did to put the salad together. But this is a great salad. It's sweet from the apples. It's crunchy. It has a lot of texture. It's got the saltiness from the olives. The sun-dried tomatoes adds another level of flavor to it. It's really, really good. I'm going to take a little piece and try it. Of course, I don't have my fork, so try to get a little bit of everything on one piece. That's really good. Excuse me, I have my mouth full. But this would be another great salad where you can toss in chunks of leftover chicken, you can, cooked shrimp. You can even add, other proteins like chickpeas or edamame. Just whatever you have in your pantry, just throw it in there and it's going to taste good. You might have to adjust the amount of dressing, of course.